Well, I have a new hero, and it's Bishop Mariann Budde, who spoke at the National Prayer Service with our current FOTUS felon of the United States, sitting there at the National Cathedral this past Tuesday following his unfortunate inauguration. And her words were just amazing. And if you haven't seen what she said, definitely go check it out. I don't know who wouldn't have seen it by now, but she addressed FOTUS directly and those sitting around him, and all she did was ask him to have compassion and mercy on marginalized groups. She was quoted Christ's Sermon on the Mount. And she did so calmly, confidently, and directly. And it was beautiful, and we definitely need more stuff like this. But the response by some has been appalling, but sadly not surprising. First from FOTUS himself, whining that she was mean and nasty. And we all know nasty is just a word he likes to throw out for women who dare to disagree with him or criticize him in any way. I'm proud to be a nasty woman. You know, well-behaved women rarely make history. But immediately after the service, he was whining, already unfairly criticizing her and whining that it was boring and it wasn't entertaining enough. She wasn't there to entertain you, dipshit. And of course, a lot of his followers and enablers are echoing him. I bet a lot of them haven't even seen 1 second of her sermon. They're just parroting what their dear leader says. There's one GOP politician who said she should be on the deportation list. She was born in New Jersey. And like I said, other people are echoing the mean and nasty insults. Some people even made the effort to look up a phone number for her and call and threaten her. Absolutely ridiculous. And Speaker Mike Johnson on social media criticized her for having radical ideology. And for people who claim to be Christians, who want people to believe they're Christians, and they whine about Jesus' words being spoken to them. Wow. I mean, I hope that this is it's clear that her words have not gotten through to the person she spoke directly to, or probably not to anybody sitting around him, and not to anybody who blindly follows him. But I hope her words have been getting through to some people. I hope this is waking more people up to the fact that the people they're following and supporting who claim to be Christians, they are not Christians. And Speaker Johnson, I want to bring up something that Mrs. Betty Bowers wrote on Blue Sky. If you don't know who that is, she's a fabulous satire character, America's Best Christian. You know, I watch her videos on YouTube often, and like I said, she's on Blue Sky. I used to follow her on Twitter, but I don't even bother with that site anymore. But her videos are very funny and spot on. But I really like what she wrote about Speaker Johnson. This puritanical pixie thinks Jesus' Sermon on the Mount was radical ideology. And I love her choice of words there, puritanical pixie. She's so right to call him a Puritan. That's a far more accurate term than Christian. You know, Puritans were really the first fascists on what would become America. And I'm sure those who were accused of witchcraft and executed would agree with that. Christian nationalism is just modern day Puritanism. Same thing by another name. And just call it what it truly is. Fascism. Leave Christ's name out of it. Don't associate Christ's name with this evil. She goes on to say that Christian nationalists are the least likely Americans to pay attention to Jesus. Even atheists are more likely to follow his teachings, if only inadvertently. That is so true. My goodness. This has been so infuriating for so long. People who claim to be Christians, claim to follow Christ, they think it's a slap in the face to hear the words of Christ spoken to them. And this is like for those in the back who still don't get it, they are not Christians. Stop buying this bullshit. It's just a political ploy to get votes and money. It's just a way for them to get more and more power. They don't care at all about Christ's teaching. They don't care at all about you. They don't care at all about helping anybody ever. And then there's a joke that I've seen several times. It goes like, how many Republicans does it take to solve a problem? And the punchline is, no one knows because it's never happened. And sadly, that's not really a joke, is it? You know, and this has been true of the GOP since well before the MAGA slogan. They just want the power and prestige without the accompanying responsibility. They don't want to have to do anything. It's too hard. Don't make us do anything. And this, I don't think there's any better recent example of this than the pardoning of the January 6th insurrectionists. Over 1,500 of them. And originally, they said they were just going to go through it case by case and only pardon the non-violent criminals. But then they were like, oh, screw it. It's too hard. It's too much work. Just pardon them all. Ugh. I'd rather just go sit and watch TV or something, or sit on the toilet and tweet. And that's just, and it's been true of them for so long. They do not want to make the world a better place, or this country better. As long as things are okay for them, and it always will be for rich, privileged white people. As long as they can live in their bubbles and everything's great for them, they couldn't care less about what's going on outside of their bubbles. They want to call that peace. They want to call it making America great again. Oh, it's so great. Everything's great. I'm great. You're great. Isn't this all great? A false peace is what they want. Just living happily inside their bubbles, just conveniently ignoring the silent suffering of marginalized groups. And how dare anyone confront them with what's actually going on, and with things that people that need their attention, people that need help. Oh, how dare you bring that up? You're mean. You're nasty. And because they just don't want to do the work. They're lazy. They're not only, many of them physically lazy, but all of them have just lazy thinkers. They just want everything to be simple and uncomplicated, and they want quick, easy solutions, even if that doesn't actually solve anything. They just want to, just live blissfully as if everything has been solved. And they want to call that peace. And while it may seem good on the surface to live like that, it seems like it would be all happiness and smiles and rainbows and lollipops. Living like that is not only a disservice to others, they're also doing a disservice to themselves. Because those who live like that are mired in a perpetual, petulant childishness. And we've seen that a lot in recent years, haven't we? From people, even a lot of people in positions of power who are supposed to be responsible. We are unfortunately seeing this in them. And that they have no personal growth, no character development. It's all very sad. Part of the major appeal of MAGA is they want to follow someone who gives them permission to be their worst selves. Because like him, they want privilege and power with none of their responsibility. They don't want to actually roll up their sleeves and do the necessary hard work to make things better, to help people, especially to help people who are scared right now, as Bishop Budde brought up. They don't want to do the hard work, like the late great Jimmy Carter and Rosalind Carter did. Those two are a great example of what we should all aspire to be. But instead of being like the Carters, FOTUS just wants to whine about how the flags were still going to be at half staff during his inauguration, even though it had nothing to do with him. It's because we are still in the traditional 30-day mourning period following the death of a president. But FOTUS just had to whine and cry about it. You better put those flags up at full staff. And of course, Speaker Johnson obeyed and made that happen. Jeez. I think I'm just gonna wrap this up. Well, now since I brought up Jimmy Carter, PHOTUS should not have been welcome at his memorial service. If you're gonna whine about something being done to honor the deceased, then you should not be welcome at the memorial service. I mean, I'm so glad that I saw several official photos that were taken there that PHOTUS was cropped out of. It's like he wasn't there. We can all pretend that he wasn't there. Man, I wish it was. I wish this was. If I can get these words out. I just wish our PHOTUS and all those who want to follow their dear leader, well, they can all just go sit in a corner and pout and poop in their diapers while we adults actually roll up our sleeves and do the hard work and get stuff done. Wouldn't that be nice? Now, where's my screaming pillow?